Howdy and welcome back to the shop. We're going to get started with this little project today. We're going to try to put this 6-inch 6-jaw on this little 4-inch lathe. And she's going to look something like that if everything works right when I get done. So the first thing I need to do is get what I'm going to use for a backer plate mounted to where I can do something with it. What I'm going to attempt here is I'm going to try to super glue this chunk of steel, and this is just hot rolled steel, onto my cast iron backer plate. Now I've taken, these are both pretty warm, not hot, but about 80 degrees. Frankenstein, not calculus. But they're about 80 degrees. They've been laying underneath the heat vent all day long while the furnace has been running on and off. So I have hit them with a grinder, just enough to rough them up. I know everybody's going to take a gasp when they hear that I hit that faceplate with a grinder, but you know what? You can always face the stupid thing back off. And I've never even used that faceplate before. It came with my lathe. This is the first time I've ever used it. So I'm going to get over here on the other side and I'm going to put some super glue on this. And this is cheap Harbor Freight super glue. If it works, it works. If it don't, well, then it don't. But I did rough this stuff up to give it a little extra tooth. And this is jelly super glue. And I will be leaving this to cure for probably a whole day, maybe a week, I don't know. But I'm not going to immediately trust this with my guts. When you got a 5-pound chunk of steel spinning at several RPM stuck to super glue, that's not giving me warm fuzzy feelings of confidence. But I've done stupider things than this. And I've still got all 12 toes and 10 fingers. So let's make sure and get this misaligned in case it sticks immediately. There we go. Well, it's stuck already. It didn't take long. And like I said, this is up to room temperature at least. Anybody remember them crazy glue commercials from the 70s where they had the old boy with the hard hat super glued to an I-beam? Well, that's either going to stick and stay on there or it ain't. So anyway, that's going to get us started on this little project. And what I aim to do here on the beginning is I will replicate these features into this. And I will countersink this whole thing to where this swallows up the flange that's on the lathe a little bit, probably a 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch. This is 3/4 inch thick steel. probably only need, I'm sure 3/8 of an inch of thread engagement on my studs will be plenty. I'll probably decide that as time goes on. But I want to make this to where my chuck is up close to the spindle bearings as possible. I want to draw it up just as close as I can get it to what will be my spindle bearings. That way, you know, overhung weight and so forth. And on the circumference of this, on the back side of this, I'm going to cut a step in it to where I've got about a 1/2 inch of good metal down through here. And this looks like this is machined reasonable for China. But I'm going to make this backer plate sit down all the way down to here. And then I'll have about a 1/4 of an inch flange sticking out the back side of it. That way I can attach the backer plate down to this, probably just some bolts. Probably won't stud it and nut it. I'll probably just bolt it straight to it. But I've got to cut a few relief pockets into my backer plate for the pinion gears. Whatever I do to this, it's going to be an improvement over this piece of plastic dust shield that came from the factory. I mean, that's pretty poor. So that's my big plans. Y'all let me know down in the comments and the doobly-doos about, you know, what you think about this little project. Yes, I know that it's too big of a chuck for that lathe and I'm going to hate it somewhere along the line, but I always wanted a 6-jaw chuck and always wanted a 6-inch chuck for that lathe. So now I've got both. Anyway, y'all give me a big fat thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. And if you're not subscribed, do it. Meanwhile, y'all drive safe, watch for deer.